Well, hopefully people are also purchasing or finding their coats to wear for Halloween because it's going to be cold, and it has been.
Yeah, I know. It's been very cold. I mean, this weekend, it was just so cold. We had precipitation. I say precipitation because most of it just had plain rain. But in northwest Oklahoma, so the bridges and the overpasses, they got pretty slick. Temperatures were very cold, and eventually those ground temperatures, they weren't doing so good. And that guy knows all about it. He did a full 360 there. So there were a lot of people that had a lot of spinouts, and there was even a rollover accident. Marty Logan, he was up there very early Sunday morning and watching all of the different wrecks. And fortunately, all the injuries that did take place, that was it. Like, they were all fine eventually. Even the rollover accident, they were able to check out the car, the vehicle, and they were able to send that person on their way. So no major accidents by any means, but there were certainly several accidents that took place, and that one rollover, but the guy was fine. He's totally fine. We also had Val and Amy Castor out, and they were just west of the metro. I know they were out in El Reno earlier on Sunday afternoon, and they actually saw very briefly at least a little bit of sleet, but they also saw some very light ice accumulation on some of the trees and the branches and some of the stop signs, things like that. But yeah, it was cold. It definitely looked like winter. It felt like winter. And today, it's really not a huge difference. At least we do have the sunshine. Now let's go to Links 1. I'm going to show you exactly where all the rain has fallen this past weekend. Again, most of it has fallen basically along and just south of I-44. Well, in Oklahoma City, we picked up 0.81. So that actually puts us at a little over 4 inches of rain for the month of October. Not expecting any more today. So that's where we're going to end the month. And that's about an inch above average, actually. So just kind of looking at the temperatures, we've had a lot of days spent well into the 80s, but these past couple of days, very different. But overall, we are going to end the month above average again. This morning, we did drop down to about 31 degrees at the Oklahoma City airport. We had a lot of teens, though, in the Panhandle, some low 20s in the northwest, and lots of low 30s even across the far south. But our average first freeze is usually about November 5th. The earliest that's ever happened is October 8th in 2012. This is the past 9 years. In the past 9 years, the earliest was actually October 11th, and that was back in 2019. Tonight, I do expect to see temperatures that will freeze again. This time, we're going to be dropping down into the upper 20s. It could technically be a hard freeze. Right now, I'm going with about 29 degrees. To get a hard freeze, you have to get down to 28 degrees for at least a couple of hours. But central, southern, eastern Oklahoma, it's about to be our turn. If it doesn't happen tonight, it will likely happen by Wednesday morning. This is our OCCC camera, part of our Lucky Star Skycam network. Lots of sun. We're at 41 degrees, but we also have that north-northeast wind at 16 miles an hour, so it feels more like 33. So again, just lots of sunshine, but it's definitely going to be chilly. We've got upper 30s, low 40s across the north, low to mid 40s across the far south. We have that north wind between about 15 to 25, a little less wind in the northwest, but wind chill values generally in the low to mid 30s pretty much statewide. Some upper 30s showing up in the south and east. We're not the only ones dealing with that. We have freeze warnings all the way from Texas that expand all the way across parts of the Great Lakes region. So this cold air is going to continue to hold on for the next couple of days. In fact, we've got another cold front that's going to move through early tomorrow. That's just going to reinforce that colder air that's going to be in place. So staying cold at least through about Wednesday morning. But Wednesday afternoon, temperatures start to moderate a little bit more. I think we're actually going to make it into the 50s. And then after that, as we get closer to the weekend, we're going to warm up even more so. Now we're looking at 60s and eventually 70s. So as the week goes on, things will get a little bit better and it won't be nearly as cold. But today, we're kind of shooting for the low 40s, and that's about it. Low to mid 40s, pretty much statewide with that north breeze. And then overnight tonight, dropping down into the upper 20s, but we could still see some low to upper 20s across the far west, low 30s in the far east. Tomorrow afternoon, not a whole lot of difference. Still a north wind between 10 to 20 with temperatures back in the low to mid 40s in central and northern Oklahoma, 50s across the south. So if you're doing the trick-or-treating tomorrow evening, probably going to have to wear some jackets along with it if you're going to be out for very long. By 6 o'clock, about 40 degrees, but by 7, we're dropping down into the upper 30s, and we're still going to have that north wind. Wednesday afternoon, though, that wind shifts to the south. We're going to be warming up into the low 50s in Oklahoma City, some mid and upper 50s, though, across the western half of the state. And then after that, we are looking at some 60s, and we do fall back 1 hour this weekend. But better news is we're also going to be back in the 70s. Lisa, back to you.
Cassie, thank you. Looking